Welcome back to Feel Good Breakfast Show. This is Expresso live in S3, and we're starting your week with some of the things that you may have missed while you were sleeping. You know that we actually don't sleep. While you sleep, we don't sleep.
We don't. We never do sleep.
No, we don't. We just gather stories for you so we can keep you up to date. And we're going to start off with this one, Ewan. Cape Town's Station Strangler. Now, this was a case that really just captured the world, in fact. And this was quite a while back. And you'll see on your screen now a couple of the pictures that have surfaced. Now, are the SA authorities too lenient in granting parole in South Africa? Because Norman Ausal-Simons, accused but not convicted of being the station strangler, will be subjected to stringent parole conditions when he is released on Thursday. And Simons, teacher from Tafelsig in Mitchells Plain, was convicted of the kidnapping and murder of Alroy van Rooyen, and that's back in 1995. And this was the commitment from the Department of Correctional Services yesterday during a community meeting with Mitchells Plain residents to discuss his imminent release. Back in the day when this story surfaced, it was so scary. There were... I noticed a little anecdote. I remember I was casted in the series that detailed the facts around the Station Strangler case back in the day when I still used to act, when they still used to cast me. But either way, it was a story. I think there were so many question marks that I think we kind of put it to bed because there were so many question marks. It was just like we found the person who was responsible, let them sit there and rot in jail, so to speak. But now with parole coming out and looking at the criminal situation in South Africa, I think it's going to leave a sore point for everybody. Because,
absolutely. I think also for the community of Mitchells Plain. I mean, it's a bit nervous. Like you said, there's still a lot of question marks around all of this. And, you know, with somebody with this kind of heat on his name, you know, for the imminent parole to take place, yes, he's going to be under 24-hour house arrest, but still, I think the community as well do have still a lot of questions around this story because it was so big and it was so impactful at the time as well.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the next story, of course, because we'll watch that one very closely. But there's another one, of course, around Iran's morality police.
Yeah,
it's back again, right?
Absolutely. So Iranian authorities intensified the crackdown on violations of the country's mandatory hijab rules. And I mean, this news comes some 10 months after Masa Amini, 22, who died in police custody after being detained over an alleged dress code violation, which is, you know, it's hard for us to take that on board, you know, for a dress code violation. I mean, you know, it's a tough one, but her death really did spark mass protests across the country that lasted for months, in which morality police were largely absent from Iranian streets. And Iran has relaunched patrols by the so-called morality police as authorities escalated their efforts to really enforce the country's mandatory hijab rules.
Yes.
This is hard. I mean, you know, that it comes down to is it culture, it's belief, it's a very, I think, difficult one for me to digest. You know, that's the situation because we are so free in our country with regards to, you know, what we can do. So to take someone like that on board and hearing about the severe consequences of overstepping a rule like that. It's scary.
I think, without being controversial, you know, you speak to culture and you speak to tradition as well, but you got to think about the premise of culture and tradition as well. You know, sometimes we follow so blindly, we don't go back to the purpose of said things. You know, was the purpose in order to do something that was quite limiting to humanity, but we kind of shrug it off because it was happened so far in the past and we just kept on following it. And I think more people need to stand up to tradition and culture. Because if your culture and your tradition does not facilitate freedom, then you need to relook.
Absolutely.
You need to change things up in 2023.
Absolutely. I always say this. My biggest wish for the entire humanity is simply to be happy in your space and live your life out as such as well. Here's another story which I think grabbed the entire world's attention from an entertainment point of view.
Oh, yes.
That cage match between Elon Musk. I mean, we of course know him, South African-born, wealthiest person in the world. Tesla, SpaceX CEO, took over Twitter last year. And of course, Mark Zuckerberg, the owner of WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram, and one of the richest persons in the world as well. I mean, this may be no joke. I mean, if you think about it, because I saw a picture of Mark Zuckerberg just finished a training session. He's looking strong, dude.
Yes.
He's looking strong. But they are now gonna looks like they're gonna get into the cage. I mean, there we go. That's exactly it.
Hey,
this boy.
Look at that. Hey.
He's taking it seriously.
No, look at that guy's body is. I mean, honestly, that'll get a lot of likes on Facebook.
Yeah,
if
so
you
I
think
mean,
about it.
what's fascinating is when this thing all started, we all thought, you know what, this is a little bit of feud. This is the two of them. It happened on Twitter.
Yes.
You know, they called each other out, and now it seems like it's progressing very, very fast.
I have to say, Elon Musk actually said he's going to do a move called the walrus on Mark Zuckerberg, which is basically where he lies on his opponent, teeth out, and just lays there and does nothing.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's how he's going to make him submit. But it actually is something that's tangible and actually could happen. I know that Dana White also said he wants in to facilitate it, but we'll have to follow that one even closer now. But the thing is, while you were sleeping, it has taken a bit more steps forward. So who knows?
Absolutely, man. I'm here for it. I want to see it. Elon Musk is probably going to, like you said, walrus, and then he's going to say, listen, yes, my plans to Mars are still ongoing.
And that's how it goes. But that's what happened while you were sleeping. Hopefully we informed you. Let's get some more information to you now with two legends.